Natalie, how's it going?
It's going good.
Yeah,
You guys again. It's been a while.
it has been a while. It has been. You just kind of went off social media, so now we have no way to contact you.
Just like a ghost.
Just kidding. Just kidding. So, how you been?
It's been a crazy couple years. I think I talked to you in 2023, right? So it's been like 2 years.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
been a little over a year.
Maybe it might have been even 2022.
Yeah, you're only a few years in hunting at that point. I mean, you're still only a few years in hunting.
I'm clearly starving. I have nothing to eat.
Yeah, no. Struggling since day one, right?
Since day one. Hey, I was listening to Joe Rogan, and then they were talking about hunting. Like, it came up randomly. Hunting came up, and they were saying about, like, if everyone hunted, all the animals, like, if every single human being in the U.S. would hunt, everything would go extinct. There we go. In a matter of, like, not even a year.
Yeah.
Because the reason it happened back then was because there was no freezers, so they had to eat it right away. So they just were literally just hunting to hunt and eat. That's all they were doing. And then also the bison, I didn't know this, but like certain tribes only wanted the tongue. So they would literally kill a bison and only cut the tongue out.
Damn. So weird.
And let everything else stay.
Jeez, what a waste.
Wow. Yeah, that's the largest
pounds of meat right there.
It's like, what is it, like 2 tons? 2-ton animal?
That's such a waste.
Yeah. And all they wanted was a tongue. It was a delicacy.
Oh, shame.
Fancy people.
You couldn't have donated? They didn't have a donation program back then.
I don't think they did back then.
No.
So pretty much before we get into it, Natalie, we're just going to cover your season. That's all we're going to do, really. That's literally it. Tell us stories of all the deer you got this year.
Stories.
Yeah. So, Natalie, for the people who did not listen to the first episode you were on, which was, I think, in the hundreds, I believe.
Yeah.
Let the listeners know who you are, a little bit how you got into hunting and when you got into hunting, because I think people really resonate with that.
Yeah. So my name's Natalie, and I think I've said this before, but I'm from Pennsylvania. I've lived here my whole life. I did not grow up hunting. Nobody in my family really hunted except maybe my dad a little bit. And I'm pretty much 100% self-taught from YouTube, people I've talked to. Been doing this, 6 years now, since 2019. So I think this fall will be the 6th season. I primarily archery hunt. And I started out archery hunting. I had no idea how to rifle hunt. I still honestly don't really know how to rifle hunt. I've shot way more deer in archery than some people have in their entire life. So I'm definitely proud of that. But I am like through and through a bow hunter now. It's addicting.
So how many deer have you shot? Like, all together?
I was thinking about that earlier, and I've kind of lost track at this point. I think this is number 10. I think the one I just shot last week is 10.
Yeah, because I always go through everyone's social media like before we have them on, just to like say, okay, they did this, kind of like do a little stalking kind of deal.
Yeah.
So I was kind of creeping on your Facebook there for a little bit, and yeah, because you shot a doe, we can talk about it, but you shot a doe in late season, and that would have been number 10 because number 9's the big one.
It was.
We're definitely going to talk about that.
So it's funny. I mean, it's not funny, but like you have 10 deer down, and Ethan has
less than that.
And
I've been hunting 3 times as long.
Yeah.
Man, I got to step up my game.
No, it just takes time, I think. And like I've always said this. Well, I've recently started thinking this is like when you come in as a new hunter, like you have a fresh eyes, so you look at things completely different than like someone who's been in it since they were 12. Yeah.
Because I mean, for the longest time, it was whatever my dad said. You know, I learned from him. Just like, all right, we go here, we go to the same spots, just because, and we would walk. I mean, I was majority of a rifle hunter. You know, growing, I didn't get into archery till 5 years ago, basically when the podcast started. So it was just the same recycled thing over and over again. So, and then to have you come in, you said, well, this was your 5th season, and this season will be your 5th season. You're seeing things from a whole new perspective than I did, even though I've been in it since I was 13.
Yeah. I mean, even I want to, because maybe, like I said, they may not have heard the first one, but like we probably touched on this, but what drew you to archery instead of rifle? Because like most people are going to like take the easier route, like the rifle route, because rifle hunting is easier. But like, what drew you to that?
Honestly, I played around with bows when I was younger. You know, in high school, you play with the bows in high school, and I bought a bow when I was in college, and I was like, well, maybe I'll just like get back into this and do it as a hobby. And that's kind of just what started it. Like I didn't own a gun. I still don't even own a rifle. I borrowed my dad's rifle. So like I knew nothing about gun hunting, and I can't even remember my train of thought of like, why are you going to go out here the hardest way possible? I don't know. Like I have no idea. People I knew a couple people that archery hunted at that time, and I guess maybe since they did it, I was like, well, that's kind of seems cool. Maybe I'll try to do that.
Yeah.
But that's really it. Like I don't have any like, I have no idea why. That was the first thing.
I was hoping for I saw Cam Haynes.
No.
And I was like, I just
I didn't know anybody. It was me. It was like me and my little crappy bow.
Yep.
And like Walmart camo that I wore like out in public because I thought I was cool. I knew nothing.
So who was like, because you learned from YouTube, so who was like the main people you went to watch, like to learn from?
Oh my gosh, I can't even think. There's a couple of ladies, and now that I've been put on the spot, I can't even think. Caitlin Moss is one.
Okay.
Caitlin Moss is who I watch quite a bit. I really
Okay.
admire her. She's probably the big one, and I've seen other people. Not more than like, more like just Googling things. I feel like when I was like how to scout, how to find bedding areas, I would just like Google or YouTube things and just like watch all these videos from like whoever.
Yeah.
Just to get information.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because I always find that interesting of who people watch to learn from. Because for me, it was the hunting public. It's like I feel like that's like the podcast I listen to, the YouTube channel I watch. Like those were like my go-to. Really was my only one that I would watch. Like I dabble with other ones here and there, but like they weren't really relatable to my situation because like I didn't have private or I didn't have anything to really base that off of. It was always just public land that I would hunt. So that's why it was so, I think that's why it's so relatable to a lot of people because not everyone can afford 20 acres in Potter County.
Listen, come on. It's my parents, man.
Yeah, I
come
know.
on. I hunt public as well. Mostly public. And success is slowly getting there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we're getting, But no, like even, I don't even think I don't, because I don't know. I learned from the people we have on the podcast. Like that's really, because I never actively looked up stuff and went out of my way to go like, oh, let's go figure this. I was like, no, like we had guests on, and if they said something's like that resonated with me, I was like, well, you know what? I never tried that. Let me see if this works for me. Let's see if this, is something that I could apply and, in my hunting and my scouting. And I mean, it's finally, after how many years, it's really clicking now. It's finally coming together.
Yep.
I had the success this year. Let's see if I can just store that in the memory bank back here and keep it going on for next year.
Yeah. But so let's talk about your 2024 season, 2024, 2025 season. Let's talk about that because first I want to dive in. What do you do for a living that you're able to just go? It seems like you're out there all the time. I'm always interested in like you see people like take off. Like, I mean, Ryan, he's open about it. He takes off for like the whole rut, right?
Yeah. Whole
like
month.
He's open about it. But like, what in the world do you do?
My coworkers and my boss are fantastic. I work in banking. I'm not going to specify which bank, but
okay.
I got those banker hours, get all the federal holidays off,
uh-huh.
Get like 4 weeks of vacation, and they absolutely love me. But I take it all off in the fall. And I think they know like I will literally quit if I don't get those weeks off.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're
what's your time frame? Like when do you start taking off? So like
it's already in. It's like January 10th and it's in there. It hasn't been approved yet. So again, my boss, if you're listening, please approve that.
My goodness.
Is it the same time every year? Like I
always take off the last week of October, first week of November. I've always found that's the best time to be able to be. And I'll take off like a week or like 4 days the first week of October because I don't know what it is about October, but I just love that like first week where things aren't, all ruffled up and deer aren't, too much out of the ordinary. They're still doing their thing normally.
Mm-hmm.
I just love that like first week too.
Yeah. Yeah. The first week kind of like it always feels like they're still in their kind of like their routine.
Yeah.
Like if you do scouting and you find if you run trail cameras, you check it like that second to last week of September before the season starts, because I think that's what I always try and do is like a couple of weeks before the season starts, like check those cameras and then go see if they're in that same pattern or not. Like see if they're hard antlered. I almost said it.
Don't say. Yeah, we don't say the H word.
We don't
here.
say the H word here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean the first week I feel like it's also a tradition for like hunters in Pennsylvania to be out there opening day. And that first week, like, hits hard. It's almost like rifle, really, where it's like, you have the guys that go out, or guys and gals that go out the first couple days, and then it's dies down after that.
Yeah.
So you have that all the time. But so your season, what was the first day you went out, and what was it? Walk us through that. The first moment of put an arrow through a deer.
This year, I also decided that I'm going to like journal and track every time I'm out, how many hours I'm out, what I saw. So I totaled it all up. And 92 hours between late season, last January, turkey season, and archery and rifle, which seems like a lot less than the previous year, but I don't know. But yeah, so I went out the first Saturday and I had like 4 deer come right into me. They just ran right under me. I didn't have a chance to draw my bow or anything, but that was like pretty cool. And I was like, well, this kind of checks out to what I've seen on cameras. I saw, some other deer later that day. And then I went out 2 days later, I believe, which was the 8th. I think, I wrote it down. Yeah, the 8th, because that was the 2-year or 3-year anniversary of the first archery deer I shot. And this little deer comes up over the hill. It's like 8:30, and I'm here like trigger happy because my freezer's getting empty. Yep. So I'm like, wham! It hit him in the spine. It was a little button buck, and I felt so bad. Still, you couldn't even tell.
Yeah.
So I got up to it, and I'm like, oh man! But I just saw a deer, and I was like, neat. I need meat. But it felt good because I was like, every year this happens. The first day, I messed up an opportunity. I messed up an opportunity with the 4 deer that were in front of me. And the next deer I see, I always end up shooting it. The next time out. So.
But that kind of, I think for me personally, I would probably have done the same thing. Yeah. Because it's like, it gets the jitters out.
Yeah. The pressure's off then.
Yeah. The pressure's off. Like you put some meat in the freezer. Like, yeah, it was a button buck, but it's not the end of the world that it's a button buck. Like, it's not going to be the only deer that that button buck is not going to save the deer population, right? Like it's there's going to be other deer. So like, yeah, you shot one, not a big deal, right? But at least you put meat in the freezer, like, and you got that weight off your shoulders where it's like, okay, now I can sit back and like relax a little bit.
Yeah, and I think you did. I mean, we talk about this several times on the podcast. Like you do what we preach, which is if you're new into hunting or if you don't have a lot of deer under your belt, just shoot deer.
Yeah.
Don't hold out for the 160-inch buck. Like if you don't have those deer under your belt, just shoot them. And then, I mean, you are a clear example of that. You just freaking dropping them left and right. Like, holy shit.
Yes. That's how I feel. I'm like, the more I shoot, the better I'm going to get under the pressure, the better shot I'm going to be. So I will shoot. I have 5 or 6 tags for does, and in 4D you can get like basically 6 tags. They never sell out. So
I had 3 and 4D.
3 and 4D. Yeah.
Yep. Shot 2. Still have 1 left. Not going to shoot.
You still have time. You still have a couple. Weeks.
Well,
you do.
It's cold. I'm not going out now.
Cold for you.
It's too cold. I'm a pansy. I'll be bundled up like the Michelin Man out there.
Just walking around.
I can't even lift my gun.
You'll be holding it like this. Like, what am I doing?
Layer properly, I guess. Anyway, next to so you got that one down. What was the next couple weeks like?
Honestly, like I thought I was going to move spots more than I did. I stayed in the same tree, in the same spot for like most of the season, which sounds crazy, but I kept seeing all these deer, and I was like, I'm not going to move. I'm seeing deer every day here. So I went out a couple times, and there was this one particular group. There was a big doe and 2 smaller ones. And I was like, I can't shoot this. Like, I can't shoot this doe. There's little babies with it. And I still have a heart, and I felt bad. So I let her pass one time. And then the one evening, she comes up the hill, and I'm like full draw on her. And something just told me, don't shoot that doe. I don't know what. So I put my bow back. I turn around, and that's when I look in the power line, and I see a buck. It's not the day I shot my buck, but I see this buck, and I'm like, this first buck I've seen all year. I'm like shaking so bad. And he starts walking in, and I had ranged like the trees around. I always sit there, like, you know, ranging when I'm bored. And I was like, that's 20 yards. It has to be 20 yards. And I think, he was walking. He was at 20 yards, and then I used my third pin, which was 30. So I shot right over his back.
Oh.
And I was like, and as soon as I shot, I knew it missed. But like I was a mess. I was shaking so freaking bad. And then another buck came in. So this is probably like a 6-point. And then there's another like smaller 6-point that came in. He was just like pacing the power line, but he never ended up coming in. But I was like, if I had shot that doe, I wouldn't have seen those bucks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I wouldn't have come back to that spot probably, because that was like the 4th or 5th sit there, and I haven't seen a buck, and I really wanted to shoot a buck. And after seeing that, I was like, I am not leaving this spot. I'm going to sit my ass in this tree for as long as it's possible, because I had seen bucks all summer there. And of course, as soon as October hits, like none of the cameras had anything.
Yep.
But I'm seeing like rubs, and I'm seeing the does, and I'm like, they have to be here. It's just a matter of when. So a couple more days go by. It's like, I think October. No, I missed that big doe again. She came up another night, and I shot over her back, and I'm like, am I like the worst archery hunter ever? I'm like, I missed a buck, first of all, so I'm pissed. And then I missed this doe, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm not having venison anymore. This little button buck in my freezer, that's it. Like, my season's done. And I was like, terrible attitude. I'm like, so mad. And I was like, this is just stupid. So I went a couple more days, and then she came in. I'm sitting there in the morning, and it just happened so fast. They like were literally out there, like 40 yards from me. I could see them. They ran in. I like hurried up, draw my bow, and she stopped at like 5 yards. And I was like, okay, that's it. Put an arrow through her, 5 yards. I'm like, I missed you once. I passed on you twice. Like, that's it. Like, I don't care about the babies anymore. Like, you're going to die if you come 5 yards in front of me. So she ended up running like 70 yards. I couldn't find her for like an hour and a half, because I searched every other area possible, because I figured she went downhill. I'm like in this thick crap looking for like an hour. That's like 70 degrees this day too. October. So I didn't end up finding her. She was a huge doe, the biggest doe I ever shot. And she probably died like pretty much after I shot her, but I just wasn't in the right place. So at that point I was like, well, now I really feel like the pressure's off, because I have this huge doe. I have a button buck. Still haven't seen any other bucks at this point. So I was a little bit discouraged, because I was like, I just don't understand. Like, there's clearly rubs here. Like, they were here all summer, and I don't think anybody else is hunting this spot. So like, what the heck happened? Right. Don't understand.
So I mean, so they were there all summer, you said, and then were the does there also all summer?
Yeah, I was getting bucks, and I was getting like 1,000 pictures a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think, because I've always heard, like, I mean, Ryan has told us this before, like, when they summer there and then they leave, at some point they're going to be coming back to that spot again. Like, it's just a matter of figuring out that time frame of like when they come back. Like, well, like, it was like historical sign. It was all the historical sign that even Ryan said he's like setting up on historical sign. That's what you did too this year.
Yeah, like I just see, this is why I don't care about summer scouting. I can't get it. Like, I don't care about summer, because it's like, maybe I don't have it right in my head because of the property. Because we have, probably not, because we have deer all spring, all summer, and maybe like early fall before hunting season. But then come fall time frame, they kind of disappear.
Yeah.
and then the buck, they roll through that, that week and a half of peak rut up in that area, and then they disappear. I had one trail camera picture in the last month and a half since the end of rifle season. It was just a little doe walking through, and they're just gone, and then they'll come back. But I mean, yeah, like if you have the sign, the historical sign there, it's one of those things where like setting it, like playing the long game. It's a game of chess, playing the long game. If you set up cameras, get that historical data, and then you're like, okay, this is why I wasn't seeing deer in October. This is why, because they're not here in October. They come back maybe for the rut. Maybe they come back late season. And then, I mean, it's one of those things you just got to figure out over time. You're not going to figure it out, in one season.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So you shot that doe. What made you go back and did you keep hunting this spot?
I kept hunting the spot. It was like I saw the bucks like early in the season. Then I was seeing them again later, like towards the end of October, November. And I'm just like this spot is so good.
Yeah.
Like I'm seeing deer all the time, whether they're does, and I even saw I saw other bucks of them too that I had missed, but I'm like there was just something that's like it was all along a ridge, and there was a bunch of oaks. Like clearly the does were feeding on that, and like it wasn't really that far from the main road, so I don't want to give it away.
No, definitely don't give away a hunting spot.
It's like you can like basically see a road from where I'm sitting.
Right.
It's crazy. Like I shot this buck and like he ran like almost down to the road.
That was my question, because what do you, in your mind, what other than the oaks, like what made this spot so attractive to like the buck and the doe even? What do you think in your mind from like I'm guessing you scouted this area, so like what did you see that maybe attributed to that?
I think farther down, I know the bed down there. Like they always came in the morning from that side. Like I'd seen the beds over there, so I'm like, I know they're running this ridge to go somewhere, and you could see like the thickest trails across this open area. Like I just feel like they were always just running this ridge, especially in the rut. That's where I saw that buck cruising. So
okay.
I'm like, I knew the food was there. I knew the bedding areas were close. I think they were used to the people traveling on the trail kind of farther up. So they kind of had the road on one side of the trail, and it was just this like pinch point of like they're going to be traveling this ridge. And
that's like one of those a pinch point that you're not necessarily going to see on a map. Like you literally, like you'll maybe see it, but it's like I can't think of it. It's like it's not a pinch point that everyone talks about, right? Like you have the saddles, you have like those types of things, but like that's a trail and a road. It's like it funnels them down into there.
It's a man-made pinch point at that point.
Man-made pinch point.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thanks.
So after that big doe, so you're not far from the road, so you don't have a long drag out?
No, not at all.
That's good. That's good.
Maybe like a mile, but it's mostly downhill.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what happens after that? After that big doe? So
I went. That was like what, October 16th. I'm looking at my notes here. But I shot everything. I think I went out around Halloween. I didn't see a whole lot. So after that, I really didn't see a whole lot of deer activity, and I was kind of getting discouraged. And I was like, even though I shot 2 deer, I just like my mindset for some reason, I was just like not into it. I was like, this sucks for like whatever reason this year. I just really struggled with like not having that passion for some reason, which is so ironic because I shot like so many deer, such a great season for me. But like, I feel like sometimes we just get in like this rut, and that's kind of how I was. I didn't want to go out, and I was like dragging myself to go out to my stand at some points. And I'm so glad I did, because the morning that I shot my buck, that was November 4th.
Okay.
I think it started getting a little colder. I think it was maybe like the 30s that day.
Yeah.
But that, I don't know where I was getting that with that, but yeah, so I wasn't even going to go out that day. So I get out there, like a little spike go through at like right before first light. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. You know, not expecting like anything else, see anything else. I'm like, you know, shot 2 deer, whatever. This is probably my season. Like, this is how I did last year. Like, this is it. I'm done. Like, whatever. Even though it's like November 4th and I have like so much time, I'm like, this is it. I'm done. And I think it was like 8 o'clock or something. I'm just sitting here and he literally appeared out of nowhere. And I've had friends say, don't look at the antlers, because if you don't look, you're not gonna start shaking, you're not gonna get as excited. That was my problem last time. I was like, oh, I saw the antlers. I'm like, oh man, I can't even sit still. My legs are shaking, everything's shaking. It was like a little 6-point, and I'm like, losing my mind. So I look out, and I saw this deer, this body, and something just told me that that's a buck. I didn't see him at all, and I just saw like a glimpse of his tail. Like, I didn't see the antlers. So I just thought maybe I'll grunt. Maybe it's a buck, and it's a doe, like whatever. I can scare it off, whatever. So I grunted. And I thought he turned around. I couldn't really tell. So I grunted at him, and I thought he had moved towards me. So I kind of shut up. And I was like, well, maybe I'll try the bleed can. Maybe he didn't like that. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea. So I grabbed the bleed can, and I bleeded at him. And that's when he completely turned around and started walking towards me. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, this is happening. This is happening right now. And I was like, he's not going to walk over here. There's no way. He's going to walk down the hill. He's going to walk that way. And he starts slowly walking towards me, and I can still picture it. And I'm like, well, do I draw? Like, what do I do? I think I did maybe kind of drop back, and then I let go because I was like, I have time. Came in towards me, and they kind of started going to my right. So I was like, maybe I'll have to have like a 30-yard shot at him. And then he turned again and started walking directly at me. And I was like, well, I don't want to shoot him straight on. And I'm like, what am I going to do? So I'm like, that point, I'm like drawn back. He's like 20 yards. I'm not looking at the antlers. I'm like, I see he's legal. He's fine. I'm going to shoot this buck. I'm like, try not to think about it because I'm like freaking out so bad. And I wasn't even shaking that bad this time because I was just like, it's a doe. I kept telling myself, it's a doe. It's a doe. It's a doe. Just don't look at it. It's fine. So I'm like, and he comes to like 10 yards in front of this little skinny tree in front of me. Stops for whatever reason. Turns directly broadside. Steps out. Arrow. Right in the shoulder.
Nice.
I'm like, no freaking way. You hear me like on my GoPro. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I'm like freaking out. I still don't know what I've shot at this point. I thought it was like a 6-point, like some little dinky buck. I have no idea. So I'm like freaking out. So I'm like calling my mom, calling my friends. I'm like crying. I haven't even got down yet. I'm like, I don't know. And I had a friend that was close by that I called, and I was like, you got to come down here to shot a buck. And I'm like, you got to see this. At this point, I still didn't know what it was. So I got down, and I could see him go down because he's like 50 yards down this hill, and I saw him crash, go down. He's dead. Like perfect shot. It could not be a better freaking shot, but it was 10 yards. And I got the whole thing on GoPro. It was such cool footage. So I like walked down to him, and I get down like over this one bench, and I was like, that's when I started to realize he was a big buck. And I'm like freaking out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's not a 6-point. So I get down to him, and I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm so stupid. Like I thought, I didn't think the brow times counted. So I was like, oh, it's 8-point. I called my friend back. I was like, yeah, I shot an 8-point. He's like, oh yeah, that's good. He gets down here, and as soon as he crossed the hill, he's like, that's a big buck. And I was like, not that big. And I was like, it's like an 8-point. He's like, what are you talking about? It's an 8-point. It's a 10-point. I was like, this counts? He's like, yeah, that counts. And I'm like, I didn't know. That sounds so stupid. He's freaking out because he's never shot anything nearly this nice in Pennsylvania. I'm freaking out. So at that point, I'm like breaking down. I like fall to the ground. I'm like, you're joking. I'm like, this is insane. I've never shot a buck in my life, let alone with a bow, let alone some people never even do this in their entire life in Pennsylvania. And I just like, there was no words. Like I didn't really film much because I was just like so in the moment.
Yep.
I was just completely in shock. Like I can't even describe it. Like, I mean, you guys know, you understand. It's like, you can't describe this to like your family or people who don't hunt. Like, you just don't understand.
Yeah.
Just like sitting over this, like this is 5 years of work. All the deer I've missed, that little buck that I missed a couple weeks before. If I would have shot him, would have been fine. I would have been happy. I would have loved to shoot that buck, but like all the work that I put in to now led to this moment.
Yeah, like that's first of all, congratulations.
Yes. Clap, clap, clap.
Congratulations. Because it was a nice buck. Like,
Yes.
it was a very nice buck. Are you getting a shoulder mount of that buck?
Oh yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
I was
that's
gonna
a
say.
good one to get a shoulder
It's
mount on.
already there.
That's the 10-point.
Yep.
And a great first buck. My dad paid to get my shoulder mount of my very first buck. It's a small little 7.
Yeah.
Nothing even comparable to your 10. And then Ethan said he'll only get a 10 mounted, shoulder mounted, if he gets it. So
unless it's if it's like an 8-point, but it's like massive, like obnoxiously massive, then I'll get a shoulder mount. But yeah, that's my standard. It's 10 points. That's a shoulder mount for me.
So like the walk up, like after you realize it's a 10-point, what was going through your head? Like, wait, first of all, the fact that you're like, yeah, it's a decent buck, it's an 8, like you
just so nonchalant about it, like, yeah, it's nice,
it's a decent buck. Yeah,
I couldn't see. I thought it was like a small 8-point, like I maybe a 6. I didn't know what it was. I was like, I did not look at the antlers. I was like, just it's a doe. Don't look at the antlers. I don't want to get excited. If I mess the shot up, I will never let it down. I'll just follow this tree stand right here and end it, because that's how perfect this could not be more perfect the way this lined up. It was just like the perfect morning. Like they were just hot that morning, and they just were cruising. Like you just don't get many of those mornings.
No. I mean, when you're in the right spot, you're in the right spot in one of those mornings. Like it happens. I think it's a cool experience. Like Ethan had that experience this year. I had the experience the week before November with the buck that I couldn't recover. Like hearing the grunts, the chasing, all that kind of stuff. It's like, wow. Like it's cool.
That's something that not a lot of people get to experience in their life. Even hunters don't even. There's a lot that don't get to experience that. So to be able to experience it even just once in your life, that's something that that's a story you're going to be telling for the rest of your life.
Like, it may happen again. I don't know. It may happen.
Yeah, exactly. It might never. Yeah. So do you call a lot, or is this like one of the first years that you've called the grunting and the bleak hand?
I will when it gets to be the rut, and I feel like they're responding to that. But I was just like, I don't know what else to do. And I was like, I'm just gonna try to bring him in. If I don't, doesn't matter. Like at least I tried. And I just really didn't think he was gonna even come towards me. Like he was heading completely the opposite direction. Like I said, I caught maybe the back end of him at the tail, and I just, for whatever reasons, like that could be a buck. I don't know. So why not? Why not try to bring him in?
Yeah. I'm sure that moment when he turned, it's like, oh fuck.
I was like, oh my gosh. Like,
here we go. Because I had up at the ruck camp, there was a buck that was like 180 yards away, but I could see he's a very nice buck and really dark. So I'm like in the saddle. I don't have my bow yet in my hand. Like I'm like grunting, and I'm like in my head. I'm like, there's like you was like, there's no way he comes over here.
No way.
There's no way. He's 100 or 200 yards away. Like there's no way he comes over here. And he starts slowly making his way up the hill. And I'm like, by the time he gets like 80 yards, that's when I grab my bow. But like at that point, he's still going up at 60 yards. Like he's not even coming close. But I'm like trying to I'm doing everything like you just said. I'm grunting. I'm bleeding. But I'm filming at the same time, and I can hear how loud I am. And I'm like, I listen to it on the computer here, and I'm like, dude, I can barely hear you, and you're on camera. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
like you have to be loud sometimes. It's like, were you really loud or not?
I don't even remember. I was just so like in shock of what was even happening. I mean, his head was to the ground. Like he was clearly like looking for does. Like he did not care that I was there. He thought, there was a hot doe.
Yep. He was a zombie buck.
Yeah.
Zombie buck, big time.
And so you filmed like that whole. Did you film your whole season, or were you just take it out select times?
I filmed quite a bit. I have everything except the last doe on camera because I have a GoPro on my bow, which is pretty easy to just like go up there, click play, and film it that way. So you can see the shot pretty well if you look at my archery video on YouTube of the actual shot. But
yeah, I watched it, unlike Ethan here.
Yeah. What the heck, Ethan? You're supposed to watch this, so you had questions. And
I should have. I mean, I watched the little clip you put on Facebook. Does that count for something?
Yeah, that 11 seconds out of like a 20-minute video of the whole season.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
Plus, it plays with the YouTube algorithm, helps get her monetized.
I know. I'm just like, I gotta help my people here. Come on.
So close.
Good. Are you really?
I think I'm like 100 subscribers away from being 1,000, which is like one.
There you go.
So
nice. Congratulations.
yeah, it's come a long way.
All right. Well, let me subscribe, and then I'll get one.
Not even subscribed yet.
I didn't even, dude. I'm okay.
I have 3 YouTube accounts.
I got one. Let me. You know what? Where are you? We're doing this live. We're doing this live. I'm doing this right now. That way, I don't get yelled at for the rest of the whole. What am I doing here?
So
while
he's doing that, the fact you missed one in the earlier in the season. I know a few years ago, didn't you miss one as well?
So yeah.
So like, what's your preparation like for this kind of like just not looking like antlers? This was the first time you didn't look at the antlers.
That was my only plan. Like, don't look at the antlers.
Okay. All right.
It was the first time.
You see that? Ready?
Subscribe.
Boom. I am number. I say right now it says 896. Would it change when I refresh? I'm number 897. See that?
There you go.
Are you film? I don't know if we're
there you
recording.
go.
I got it.
Everyone who is listening and watching this, Natalie. Well, Ethan, why don't you read it off? So you just had it up.
Since I can, you know, I can click on my subscription button.
Yep.
And then look at that. It says, this is a channel. Life of a Nat. Life of a Nat.
Question: how did that like?
Yeah, where'd that come from?
You like gnats?
So embarrassing, but in college, I used to want to be a blogger back when that was like the cool thing.
Okay.
That was my name on my blog, which I don't know what I talked about in that blog. It was not hunting, clearly.
Yeah. But I mean, you can still do that. You can still do, I mean, people doing the hunt vlogs now. Yeah. Like it's something very doable.
Yeah.
Be cool.
All right. So now that I am subscribed, I'll watch. I am on a like kind of a YouTube kick right now, but I'm watching like the same fishing videos as of late. So it's like, all right. And then like you guys, I mean, you put something out on YouTube. It's like, all right, watch it. Mm-hmm. And I get a little notification. So now I got another thing to watch. So don't worry. I'll get your views up.
Awesome.
You go through review everything.
I look at everything. It is. I mean, that's the problem with me. If I subscribe to a YouTube channel and I'm like, all right, I like your videos. I want to watch them. I'll go back to the very beginning, and I have to watch everything. I'm not like, oh, I'll just listen to the new stuff. No, I gotta listen to everything from the beginning to recent. So it takes me forever to catch up. If you have a lot of videos,
he did that with our podcast. Like he went back and listened to from one.
Oh yeah, I make sure
to catch up again. I don't know why he did that.
Why not? It's views. It's listens. It's something. It's better than nothing. I'm helping here. All right. Here for the people.
If you had to tell the listeners and watchers what would be like the one video they would have to go watch, they should go watch, like out of all the videos, like, is it the buck one or is it like a different one that you think is a lot better?
I would say that one. I'm looking now, and also the one that I have pinned that says "Go Down." You can see this one.
Yep,
that's a pretty cool video too.
Yeah, good thumbnail too.
It was like the first. That was a hard shot, and it just went right down. I was so excited for that video. That was like one of the first, one of my earlier archery deer. And it was like one of those perfect October cool mornings. So that
what's your favorite part about self-filming? Because like I did it for a full year this year, and you've been doing it for a little while now. What's your?
I mean, I go back and watch my own videos. Like, I'll probably forget half this stuff if I don't film it or write it down.
Yeah.
And it's just cool to like go back and see what I was talking about 2 years ago or last year, and then just to read when it's like I can show people like this is what happened. You can literally see me shoot these deer, which is so cool. Yeah, I mean,
I think like I'm right there with you. Like when you can go back and watch it, it's like you're reliving that all over again, and it gets like you fired up when you're like sitting wherever you're watching that, and you're like, oh, I really like that edit. Like I wow, look at that, or like, look at that shot. Like, this is what I can improve on this time. Like, next time, my setup, all that kind of stuff. It actually helps with improvement too, of shot placement, of, you know, if you hit the deer or not, like that kind of stuff. It helps. I think it's cool. I mean, it's tough.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not professional by any means. I use my phone mostly.
Neither.
And my GoPro. But like, you're documenting. I mean, even I like go back and learn. I'm like, what the heck was I even doing? Like, what was I thinking? Like, and it's just cool to see like how much I've grown and like all the work and all the time that I put into even editing videos and just being out here all these years.
Yeah.
See where I've finally come to.
Yeah, it's cool to see you finally get a buck down, which it was a beautiful buck. Like, I think it was better than all the buck I have in the studio right now. Definitely better than the shoulder mount one. But it was a beautiful buck. What was a lesson you learned from this season that you're gonna kind of grow from for next season? Because there's always those lessons we learn.
I feel like even though I got so many deer down, I did not practice as much as I should have this year with my bow, and I feel like that hurt me in the early season because I thought, oh, you know, it's fine. Like, I know how to shoot my bow. I know where my pins are sighted in, which clearly I didn't because I couldn't even decipher which pin was for what yards. So I think being more consistent with my bow and just being, you know, more consistent with being out there. Because like I said, I just got so discouraged if I went in like 2 days and I didn't see deer. I was like, well, this is stupid. Like, I don't want to be out here like this. You know, I'm just so discouraged. And even after I shot my buck, I didn't see deer for like a solid week after that. It was like the weirdest thing ever. I don't think I saw deer until rifle season.
Wow.
I mean, I thought I was done at that point too, which like I was fine. I was fine being done at that point, but I was like, I really want to shoot one more deer, which I did end up doing. But
there's always that one more deer that we all need, right?
Yeah.
Like, I just want to put
maybe one more. Like, maybe one more spot. And I was like, what are you going to do with this? I'm going to eat it.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do with all these deer? Like, no, I just throw the meat away. Like, I don't do this to eat, or I hate venison. Like,
yeah, you just cut the tongue out.
Yeah,
just cut the tongue out. Just eat the tail.
For all the listeners out there, we had a discussion before the podcast.
Oh yeah, that was prior.
Well, I mean, I have it. I could put it in here somewhere.
Yeah.
But like, you know, in the old days, in our ancestor days, for everyone out there that didn't know, that there's a tribe out there that used to shoot bison, kill them, and only cut their tongue out to eat the tongue, and would let the rest just be eaten by coyotes or wolves or lions or, you know, saber-toothed tigers,
bears. Oh my!
Right,
the whole nine.
Yep, everything. Wild boars would even eat it. I think
probably eat everything. They're
squirrels,
cans,
rabbits,
squirrels. Jesus.
Yep, everything.
Squirrels.
So I know the one video I really liked is like you showing that you don't have to buy the expensive camo, and like you don't have to upgrade to the most expensive things right away. Like, you don't even have to buy the newest bow to still be professional. So what is something that you will be upgrading for next year or this year?
I don't know. Every year I say, oh, I'm going to buy a saddle. I'm going to buy a saddle. And like, I'm never going to buy a saddle, clearly. I'm just like so stuck with what I have. And I'm like, it's so expensive. I just don't care to. I feel like the one thing in broadheads, not that I feel like I usually just buy like whatever's at Walmart. Yeah. And I go through them because like every time I shoot something, I can't find them. Yeah. But probably investing a little bit better broadhead.
Okay.
The ones I have are not really the best. I usually use the fixed blades, but when I look at some of those mechanicals, I really haven't had a lot of luck with those ones.
I feel like it's easy. It's definitely easier to go from a fixed to a mechanical, because if you go from a mechanical to a fixed, you got to work on you got to tune your arrow to the blade. And that's the biggest struggle for me, is tuning it so that way it shoots straight. Like, it's always dropping to the right or rising to the left. Like, it's always something like that. But like that's why I like mechanicals, just because it's simple. Like, it's like you put 100 grain or 125 grain on there and you just go with it. But like, yeah, it's definitely going to be easier to go from your fix to a mechanical. Is there certain ones you're looking at?
I feel like the ones I had before were the Stinger ones, the like ones you can sharpen. I had those. I really like those. They had a huge blade. I shot that doe that I just showed you that on my tagline, and it left a slice like this big in the heart. So I'm like, shoot them in the right place. Like, they'll go down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've thankfully had pretty good shots of most of my deer this year.
Yeah. For me, I'm probably going to go to. I shot G5s, dead meat. I believe it was dead meat last year. I would like something with. I might go to a fixed blade if I can get it to fly right. I'm probably just going to get new arrows and everything, a whole new setup, pretty much. Not a new bow, but I didn't kill anything yet with my bow yet.
Well, yeah.
So
yeah, you gotta bring it in.
Still have yet to break it in. It's been 3 years, so I still have to do that. But I kind of want to go to a fixed blade just because it just seems like you don't have that risk. Like you can shoot through a little bit more debris, and it's not you don't have that risk of it opening up. You know, like if you're ground hunting and you shoot through like some weeds or stuff like that, it won't open up by accident. So that's something that I don't really ground hunt that much. But if I do come to that, maybe I will. But that's kind of something I'm thinking I might upgrade for next year too.
I think I'm crazy, but I think I want to buy a traditional bow too.
Oh, what is it?
Traditional bow, like a recurve.
Bow.
Like that's the next thing I do because I can't make it any more complicated.
No.
Yeah. You're the second person we've heard say that for next year.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan was first, and now you.
So what's the reasoning for you wanting to do that? Like make that transition? Because is it like what's the reasoning for that you want to go make it harder?
Not that this is too easy, because it's not. Like I put in so much work, but I just feel like why not make it more complicated? Like where's the limit? Like of how I can push this to see what I'm capable of.
Yeah. I mean,
I've accomplished my goals.
It's kind of funny because hunting is literally like a drug.
It is.
You want to see how far you can push this thing till you break.
Yep.
Like it's very funny. Like it's because it is right. Like you want to make things harder. It's like because like start with a crossbow. It's like okay, I shot a few deer with that. Yeah. Now I want to get a compound to make it even harder on myself. Haven't shot anything with that, but like then I got my dad's old like I would say it's like a trad bow, an old trad bow.
Mm-hmm.
That I can max shoot maybe 30 yards. And it's like, maybe I'll take this out. But yet I haven't shot something with my compound yet. And it's like, why do I want to make this harder on myself right now? Like just I need to just shoot deer.
Like I don't know how to describe it. Like if you don't love archery hunting, you just won't understand.
Yeah.
There's something about like shooting an animal with a bow as opposed to a gun. Like you have to know these animals at a personal level. As opposed to like rifle season, like you can shoot one in 150 yards, and like in archery, like you look this deer eye to eye, basically. Like most of my shots have been within 10 yards this season, and to like get that animal that close to you, and like I feel like you have to earn that. Like if you're gonna kill that animal, you better take responsibility from that from start to finish.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree because like I'll shoot like during rifle, I'll shoot doe. But like I don't get as excited like if a doe comes in when I'm archery hunting. Like I don't like I'm still excited that I shot that doe, but like you said, it's on a more personal level with that animal. It's like that animal is 20, 30 yards from you.
Yeah.
When you shoot like my rifle deer, the doe I shot this year were 60 and 110 away. So it was like that's not a very personable level. Like I can see them from a far off distance and shoot them. It's very personable archery.
They don't know you're there. Like most of them hope you don't know you're there. But it's like that because on that buck, I had no idea. And to be able to like I can't even like find the words to describe like how incredible that opportunity was that, you know, like I said, I've hunted all public land too. I don't know if people know that, but buck was on public land. Every single deer I've shot has been on public land. And the funny part about it is my family owns like 200 acres that I grew up on that I could hunt. But I never hunted there.
Jeez.
Once again, making it hard.
Making it hard. On purpose.
On purpose.
I just like had it in my mind. I'm like, I have to shoot a buck at this place where I fell in love with hunting. Like I just that is always in my mind, and I accomplished that goal. And I'm like, I feel like I can spread out now to the area that I want to, but there's just something about this area that just keeps bringing me back because like I'm shot so many deer here, and it's like, you know, sentimental to me now at this point.
Yeah. Now I feel like I know the answer, but you shot this I mean, 10-point tank of a buck.
Yeah.
Hammer.
What's the mindset going into next year? If say that little 6 comes in that you shot over this year, you still taking that shot, or are you going to have that 10-point in the back of your mind, like, oh, I could try to get something this size again? Or are you still like, let's go?
That's like the hardest thing. Like, yes, I'm so happy that I shot a buck and I shot a really nice buck, but now it's like, how do you top that in Pennsylvania? I mean, people have, and it's hard, but I feel like I'll shoot whatever makes me excited. If a buck comes in and I'm like, yeah, this is not making me excited, then I'm not going to shoot it. But I will. I would shoot a 6-point. I mean, I would have shot a 5-point, you know, I would have shot anything. Like, that was legal.
Yeah, one-sided 3. Like, just,
right.
I mean,
send it.
There's just something about a nice 6 or a nice 5. Like, just like you don't see them often. And it's like, man, it's cool to get something like that. Like, to get one of everything, like to get a one-sided 3.
Yeah.
To get a one-sided 3 and a spike on the other side, a 4-point,
a
5, a 6, a 7, 8, a 9, 10. Keep going up.
Just keep going up. Just make a bucket list.
Yeah, make a bucket list. Like, I'm not shooting this buck because I already have 110. So now you can't shoot a 10 next year.
Nope. It's got to be different.
It's got to be different. It has to be a 9.
But that's the problem though. That's going to force you to look at the antlers, and you said you can't look.
Nope, can't shoot that.
Can't shoot you. Like, excuse me, I need you to leave.
Yeah, no, I will definitely shoot a buck next year if I have the opportunity. Cool. I'm not like I know it sounds stupid, but like I don't really care that it's a 10-point, and people like I think other people care more than I do, because that's not why I'm here. And I feel like because I have this mindset, I've kind of been blessed to have this opportunity in a weird way, because some people are like, oh, I just hunt for the trophy. Like, I don't care about anything else. Like, that's all I want. And, you know, not that they don't deserve that, but like, no, I feel like I've earned this. Like, I do deserve a nice buck. I put in the time. I put in all these years. And not to sound like kind of naive, self-conceited, but like, I feel like I have really, you know, put in the time in public land. And like I said, some people don't even get this opportunity in their life.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful for that.
No, I agree. You definitely earned this buck. And I mean, it was just a beautiful buck, Natalie. Like, you did a great job. Proud of you.
Clapping again.
I was in my mind, I was like, when she first gets on, I'm going to stand up and go like,
bravo.
Well, I guess I just did now.
You just did now.
Ethan, you want to join me, I guess.
No, hey, I subscribe to YouTube. That's my contribution right now.
I have to watch every video.
I will watch all of them from the beginning to the end.
So where can people follow you, like, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff, and get a hold of you?
Yeah, I mean, my YouTube, I plan on continuing to post videos on there, like the Nat. Ethan subscribes, so we all have it on video.
Yeah.
Kind of got off the Instagram. I don't know if I'll be back on there. I just like
Smart.
needed a mental break off of that. So YouTube is pretty much what I do now.
There you go. There you go, everyone. Remember to keep hunting,
keep fishing,
and always enjoy the freaking process. See ya.